Hello Astrometry. This is a update on the previous earthquake prediction from yesterday. And since then, there was just a 6.2 magnitude quake off the coast of Peru, and there was another in Japan, a 6.0 magnitude quake in Japan. I'd come up with a potential lead on how to predict the location of the earthquake this morning, which is very exciting, based on the shape of the coronal hole. I'm suspecting that the hypertime shadows have a signature of the actual ground shaking that appears in the structure of the hole, and that this pattern, this shape, can be identified across the various common locations for earthquakes. And so in other words, there are frequently earthquakes in Japan, there are frequently earthquakes in Indonesia, there are occasionally earthquakes in California. There are other places like Alaska, the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, and obviously Sichuan province right now. And these active areas, I'm suspecting, will have particular signatures based on their geography and their proximity to water especially. And I completely understand the skepticism involved with this discovery. There's a lot of people who've been kind of very skeptical and even attacking me with no particular ground to do so. And sometimes I have a hard time believing it myself, but when I look at the science of it, when I think about what I'm doing with the paradigm shift in astrometry and what I'm actually looking at to make these predictions, and I've made several. I've been making these predictions for over a year now, and it started out I was making them just to people that were around me. I was basically telling just my housemate and different people that I knew, and then I started putting core weather together, and you can go to coreweather.com and look at that if you want. But now I'm doing it here on YouTube, and this particular type of thing, what I'm seeing as far as the viability for this, as far as a forecasting tool, it has a lot of potential. And I haven't always put together these videos for times when I knew that there would be a quake, because I knew it wouldn't be that big, or I didn't think it would be that big. Obviously, if there was a 6.0 in California, in a very populated area, it would be a really big deal. If there was a 6.2 in San Francisco, it would be a mess. I'm not concerned about California right now, and I'm not going to give specific reasons why I'm not concerned about California right now, but right now I'm not. And so according to the core weather model, and I'm not going to get into the details of the science there, but I do think that we're potentially in a period where there's going to be a lot more of these types of events. I don't think that we're going to see necessarily something the magnitude of the Asian tsunami anytime soon. I'm not really concerned that the overall number of earthquakes are increasing. And I didn't start doing this because I was concerned about that. I do think that California will have a very large earthquake sometime before the peak of the solar cycle. I suspect that California will have a big earthquake sometime before the peak of the solar cycle. And right now, the core weather model, I have no technically, I don't have any precedent for what's happening with the solar cycle right now, because the core weather model is based on the solar cycle. The solar cycle 24 has been flat, is flattened out, and it has fallen way below all of the predictions for the solar activity. And I suspect that it will be flat probably at least through September. I don't suspect that the solar cycle is going to normalize. I don't suspect that we're going to see normal solar activity. I think the solar activity will continue to decrease from my sources and analysis until at least September, which is concerning me, because I really don't know what's going to happen. And that's why this is a perfect time to study the correlation between the coronal holes and the earthquakes, because the sun is so calm. That's the theory right now, and this, it's possible that these are just coincidences. It's possible that this is all just just a coincidence, but I really doubt it because I've got a physics for it. I started studying this because I have an underlying physics. This validates astrophotometry, and it's not the only thing that validates astrophotometry. So it was already a very strong theory, not a theory to me at all, really, because I consider it a paradigm shift. The next few days, I think we could see even if this coronal hole, the one that I'm basing this particular prediction on, is Japan. If this is this event is associated with Japan, this 5.9 or 6.0 quake that we just saw in Japan might be the first of a series, and they might be even bigger. And so I hate to say, because that's testing this new idea that I have, that the shape of the hole might have something to do with the shape of the place where the quake is going to be. And you can see, I was thinking that this would be underwater because of, it looks like it's isolated. It's not fingery. It doesn't have these long fingers like a lot of the coronal holes do. And if this is the signature for Japan, I would say that a 5.9 quake wouldn't cause this big of a just from having been watching this, I don't think the 5.9 quake would cause this big, or would be associated. I keep saying cause, and like cause and effect. These are the mechanisms of time that I'm looking at here. I'm looking at, in astrophotometry, I'm looking at this as the mechanism of time itself. And so in moving through time, it's the shift in the physical ground that is indicated by the presence of the coronal hole. And so, just based on what I've seen, this 5.9 quake is not the size of quake that I would normally associate with a hole of this size. I would think that the quake would be a little bigger, and so it might be the foreshadow or the foreshock, I guess, of a larger quake that's going to happen in the next couple days. Hopefully not, but that's. I feel like I need to say that because that's something that's rattling around up here. I don't know what the probability is. I have no idea about that. And more comments on this. The SOHO satellite has been in its keyhole period. This is why the last prediction was late, and the data just recently came back online. They do this thing called a CCD bakeout when it's in its keyhole period, and the concept is that they heat the CCD up, the charge coupled device, to bake out all of the inconsistencies in the chip that happen because of the high energy particles that hit it, because it's not shielded by the atmosphere, and so it's constantly being bombarded by high energy particles. In astrophotometry, this isn't really what's happening, but this is the modern theory. In astrophotometry, it's actually space-time in continuity that has to do with its displacement from the Earth. But in the modern theory, the charge coupled device can be heated up, and it gets these inconsistencies out, and it does do that actually. It makes a better picture. After it's been kind of eaten away by the high energy particles. And so they just got out of the bakeout period, and so the data feed is back up now, which is good. And I'll have more later.